Christmas to you. I hope you are very happy to say good night and goodbye to 2020 and celebrate Christmas. You're wondering where the Loop is? The Loop is at Purpose Center on Mombasa Road for a very special performance called Deck the Halls. And I've been joined by the writer and the cast. Oh, and my name is Valentine Joroge, I forgot to say. So, Wajiko Itambo, you're the writer of this year's Deck the Halls. And Pastor David Ewags.
Yep.
Ewagata.
Yes.
I got it right. I got it right. I really do. You hate messing up people's names. Yes. So this is something that you guys do every single year called Deck the Halls.
Yes.
When did you start?
So the reason I laughed is when you said every single year, it sounded like we've been at it for a while. So Deck the Halls is a production from one of the assemblies of Purpose Center, which is R West. The church started last year. So last year is when we had our first Deck the Halls.
And you wrote that one as well?
Yes.
So you're the official Deck the Halls writer. That's what I was getting at with the
I see you. I played right into that one. Yes, so this is our second one. This is our second production.
So what was last year about and what's this year about?
So last year we covered the story of Christmas through the eyes of Elizabeth. You know, Jesus being her nephew, you know, just going through her, it was actually Lizzie's diary. So basically,
nice.
Yes, so from the time she got the angel visitation to, you know, so basically my thinking around Christmas, the story will always be the same.
Yeah.
It's centered around Jesus. But there's other stories, other feeder stories that can just give you context and help you look at it holistically.
Like other people who had full lives and then their interaction.
Yes.
Are you going to do Mary Magdalene? Mary's diary. Okay, so this year, so what's happening this year?
So this year, we're covering the story of Christmas from the point of the census that was going on around the time of Jesus' birth. And we have a news show where we have reporters out in the field looking for people and asking them, hey, you know, have you registered for Huduma number? You know, because that's what they think the story is, but the story is the birth of Jesus. So
it's actually the prophecy
it's
of
a
Christ.
prophecy fulfilled. So we have the wise men, we have the shepherds talking about their experience. And then the third scene, we have the professor of divinity just wrapping it up and telling us, you know, what this means for Christianity.
I had a rumor that every time she writes something, you are the lead.
You have to go that way. You have to go
You are
that
the
way.
lead.
You had to.
So is he your muse?
Let me put it this way. The 3 times I have
I'll
written
put you on the
this,
spot.
I know, right?
Like,
The times I've written this, Pastor Ewags really gets it. He's able to take the story and just own it and run with it.
Oh, beautiful.
He's such a prolific actor.
Okay.
There is a feature.
that's a rumor that's been going around, but in reality, I'm actually
Just
a pastor.
accept the props. Accept the props. So, okay, tell me about Professor.
Well, Professor comes to piece together the story of looking at the birth of Christ, but going back to right from creation. Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden, the fall of man. So the narrative of the creation, because creation is a big thing. Where do we come from?
Yes.
Then the fall of man comes in, and now looking at how God has interacted with man since the time Adam and Eve ate that fruit. Imagine guys had only one instruction,
Just
and they
the
couldn't.
One job. We had to do one
Adam
thing.
and Eve should be in heaven walking around with helmets and security. They're just like those guys. You had one fruit, not even at SG partying and all that, just one fruit.
Don't eat this, and they ate
so
it.
looking at that and how the fall has affected everything and God's redemptive work throughout that time. You know, the sacrificial process that was there, slaughtering of animals. But all this could not be satisfied.
To atone for sins when man had to. Yes, okay.
And just basically trying to make amends.
Right.
And so, and above that now, we see the prophetic footprints of what is written in the Bible about the Christ who has been predicted, promised, and finally appears. Right at the fall of man, we see God say, you know what, the seed of woman shall crush the head of the serpent.
Yeah.
And already there is that picture of Christ as the seed of woman, born of a virgin. Then we see again the prophecies about how he will be born, where he will be born. It's so interesting how it connects. And so just trying to see all these pictures and put them together, because when you look at the whole Bible and read all those books, you can't really see it in one sitting.
That's true.
And so we're just trying to basically collapse it into a brief narrative that shows you this is where it first began, this is what has happened, and this is the culmination of it when Christ is born.
Okay.
And just piecing that history together.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I really enjoyed about your script is we get so caught up in our lives, Huduma number and whatever the big thing is. Right now it's BBI and Corona and whatever else. So when I was reading it, I was like, oh, if Christ came back, we wouldn't actually be looking for
that.
Jesus to come back. We'd be looking for what is so and so saying about BBI, who has shifted sides and who hasn't, and are we opening schools? Like those are the things on our minds now, and money and whatever. So I really like that you brought that out, and the reporters start out looking for one story and find themselves.
Exactly.
The interesting thing that I would say is whenever we read the Bible, people have this feeling that me, if I was born during the time of Jesus, I would be in there like
I'd be a disciple.
the 13th disciple by
Front row by myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the reality is, he was just as doubted as any other one of the people around.
That's true.
And there were many other teachers,
yes,
who were brilliant at that time. And so what he was doing was not exceptionally out of the ordinary. It was part of how education was done. It was, everyone had his disciples.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we would miss him the same way we miss him now because of Christmas trees, Santa Claus, parties, what.
That's true.
And so there's always layers trying to cover the story. And that is what the enemy always tries to do. If he can't get you not to believe it, just keep you busy with other things.
Right.
Distraction.
The
And we'll always be
distraction.
distracted.
Yes. So you forget what Christmas is actually fundamentally about. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about Christmas?
Man.
Apart from writing and this talent.
So of course, let me just say, of course, Jesus, the reason for the season, absolutely best part of Christmas. But I also love the fact that we kind of just get to slow down after a busy year. Well, it's just been 2020 is different.
We're still slowing down some more.
Yeah, some more, and just getting some time with family, and just, for me, it's that moment to just connect and come back together. And I love the decor. I love Moshaino things.
Okay.
Yeah.
We see.
Yeah. Did I give it away?
You are a Moshaino person.
I love the Moshaino
things. Look at me and my nails.
I know.
Yes, I also
so like
my
just
Moshaino.
going to malls and just seeing the lights, and
Nice.
it's like, oh yay, I just love it. But of course, the real reason of why we celebrate Christmas, that's the most important, and that's what I hope to bring out every single time.
Okay.
And in everything that we do, that the real story is actually Jesus.
Is actually Jesus.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Christmas?
My favorite thing about Christmas is to see how a whole world that does not want anything to do with Jesus
Celebrates.
celebrates him.
And says happy holidays instead of Merry Christmas, and says happy Xmas instead of Christmas.
You know, the interesting thing is, undeniably, there have been different narratives from different cultures that celebrate either their creation story, their redemption story, and all that. But none has captured the imagination of the world like Jesus Christ.
That's true.
Truth.
And so every time I sit and watch how the hula baloo around Christmas, I'm like, for sure, this thing is legit.
Yeah.
This child who was born,
Yes.
he's no ordinary child.
Yeah.
And so just
Yeah.
enjoying the sight of that,
Okay.
and celebrating Christ, knowing that if he was not who he said he is, we would not be all shutting down. Having the biggest sales in the world, having the light. Some companies operate on Christmas alone.
It's true.
They do one sale and wait for next Christmas.
That's
it.
like if you're in the business of Christmas ornaments. See, that's
Right? Right?
Yes.
And you're done.
My favorite thing about Christmas is that, like even what we were discussing just before we started this, God made a promise at the beginning of the Bible, and then 4,000 years later kept it.
Kept the promise.
So for me, it's a reminder that God is consistent. Like we change, we meander, we lose faith, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But for me, it's that's what makes Christmas special for me. So even with all the decorations and everything, last year I took my son to a manger. I was like, umeona? He's like, yes, mom.
We have seen.
I'm like, have you seen a manger? Like where Jesus, that was his first bed. Have you seen your first bed?
Right?
He's like, yes, mom.
Like, humble yourself.
And he's the son of God.
I know.
He's 4. He's looking at me like, why are you bullying me? Where are my gifts? You know what I mean? So who's your favorite character in the script?
In the script, I think Okay. So I like one of the shepherds.
Uh-huh.
So the shepherds, I think that's the funniest bit for me.
Uh-huh.
And then just the story behind, the shepherds of the day. These guys were not like the most esteemed people in society.
Oh, that's
But
true.
Jesus, the angel picked them. Like, he didn't just go to the leaders, to the rabbis, to the Pharisees, he
That's
went
true.
to a shepherd. He went to shepherds. He
Okay.
announced the birth of Jesus to shepherds. That for me it's exciting. And then of course even the characters, during that scene, you're going to see that.
Okay.
It's hilarious. Yeah, that's my best scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the wise woman. Because now we have a wise woman.
Right?
As opposed to
That's
three
true.
wise men.
That's true. That's true.
And you're
Yeah.
the wise woman.
Yeah.
You're not feeling your own character.
like we're giving it away. Okay, got it. Yeah, so yes, of course, even the wise woman, just, imagining this in a new way. How would it be if there was a woman in the
Okay.
mix? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do like that. And then you guys are doing this. So Purpose Center is doing, is there going to be an Easter production? Is there going to be another Christmas production?
Yes, so like I mentioned earlier, so this is Purpose Center has different assemblies. So this is one of the assemblies for Westlands.
Oh.
Yes, it's called Ruach West.
Okay.
So Ruach West is part of the Ruach family. So we,
Got it.
most of the times we do the Christmas productions and the Easter productions. So, and hopefully it'll be sort of like a continuous story. So we had Deck the Halls last year, Lizzie's Diary.
And
So this
then-
is Deck the Halls this year, the news edition.
Yes.
So just stay right here to see
And
what's
then-
next. Then we'll have an Easter,
Okay.
the Passover experience.
Ah,
Yeah.
and Wajiko is writing all of these.
Look at pressure.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
this?
But you've written 3. So
Well,
she'll
yeah,
do two,
maybe.
she'll do 2 more next year. I know by now you've had enough about this script and the stories and
can't
everything.
deal with you.
So let us deck the halls, the news edition, right now.
Oh, come, holy faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of ages. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Deck the Halls Weekend Special. I am your host, Bathsheba, not David's Clan Day, and in this week's edition, we have all the events of the week lined up for you, most especially the ongoing national census, also known as Operation Huduma number. It has been a week filled with events, with towners flooding our great city just to beat the deadline of the registration. Stay tuned, as they say in Swahili. Usibanduke. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back, viewers. As promised before, we have quite the number of things for you in store this evening. We have our team in different parts of the city giving us first-hand account of Vitu Kwa ground. To start us off, we'll be having Jerusalema, Not the Song, and she'll be coming to us live from Burj Al Bethlehem to give us just an experience of what the people have been going through in the process of this registration. Jeru, over to you.
Thank you, Bathsheba. This is Jerusalema, reporting from the Burj Al Bethlehem, where celebrities and businessmen alike are rushing to register for their Huduma numbers. Let me find someone and get their comments on the ongoing exercise. How are you, madam?
Hello.
My name is Jerusalema from Deck the Hall's new special, and I'd like to get your comments on the ongoing Huduma number registration.
The what now?
Huduma number registration.
I have no idea what that is.
We are having a census here at Bethlehem, and people are registering to get their Huduma numbers.
That's not why I'm here.
Okay, so are you here for business or pleasure?
Well, you see, I'm in town because of the star.
A star?
Yes. So a few days ago...
I'm really sorry.
excuse me, lady. You wanted to hear me out, so sit.
Okay.
So a few days ago, I noticed this something so peculiar on the sky, this star that just stood out above all the other stars.
Are you an astrologist?
Well, not really, but my family and I were very big on stars. You know, like I said, I come from the East, and we are very, very big on stars. So this star just seemed to stand out above all the others. So I called my brothers, you know, we're in business together. So I called them, I told them, you know, there's something unusual about that star. And my brother, who, you know, has studied astrology, said, that star signifies the birth of a king. So, of course, you know, we decided to cancel everything, cancel all our plans. I mean, we had board meetings coming up. We canceled everything to come and witness the birth of the king.
Did you just say a king?
Absolutely.
But we already have a king. Is this a political agenda from your end?
You have a king. Was your king present, or was there a star present when your king was born? I don't think so. This is no ordinary king, ma'am. This is an important time in history. And let me help you. What is your name again?
My name is Jerusalem.
Good for you. So, Jerusalem, or whatever your name is, go back to your little media house people and tell them that this right here is a career-making moment for you. This whole exercise you're covering, counting people, goodness me, what is going on in Bethlehem? You have the biggest story of a lifetime happening in your midst, and you're covering a counting exercise? Honey, that's not how you get ahead. So go back to your little media people, tell them there is a king being born today in Bethlehem.
Is he an infant?
It's a baby, darling. It's a baby. So this baby will become something great that, you know, this is history in the making. It's a baby, yes, but it's a king. I mean, why else would we come here? We are important people in the East. We stopped everything we were doing. We brought gifts. Although my brothers did not carry the diapers, that's why they went out to get diapers. But the point is this. This is a big moment. There is a king that is to be born today. So that is the real story, not your counting exercise, my dear.
Well, thank you very much. Are you still sticking around?
In Bethlehem? Seriously, look at the infrastructure here. What is there in Bethlehem? The only good thing happening today is the birth of the king. So no, honey, I will not be staying in Bethlehem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it, folks. Is this a revolution happening right here in Bethlehem? We would have never thought this could happen. My name is Jerusalem. Back to you in the studio.
Amazing, amazing stuff going on right here. Definitely not what we expected to hear from Jerusalem and her guest, which she was able to speak to. But as always, we promise you the recounts of the events as they unfold here at Deck the Halls Weekend Special. Next, we'll be taking you to the streets of Bethlehem, Zizi Street in particular, where we'll be having Jeroboam again, not the king, who will be discussing with one of the locals to find out how their experience has been during this Operation Huduma Number experience. And let's find out if we'll get something different again. Jero, over to you.
Indeed, I get you clearly from studio. Thank you so much. This is Jeroboam with Deck the Halls, and we are here. It's quite a cooling down sunset, and we've been covering the whole day about the Huduma number and the registration from the city of Bethlehem, and this is Zizi Street. We've got several people that have been giving us views and comments throughout the day, and we're glad to have one of them here who is joining us to just give us a little bit about what this Huduma number has been for him. How are you, gentlemen?
Niko poa.
Yeah, your name, please.
Mimi wananiita Zelo, ama Zelo Fehab.
Yes, Zelo. Umekuwa salama?
Niko salama kabisa.
Na umechukua Huduma namba?
Kwanza Huduma namba niko nayo kabisa. Sisi tulianza kuchukua Huduma namba jana usiku.
Good, amazing. So like it's been a process that has been going on throughout the day since yesterday, because we saw long queues during the day. And what was it about Huduma number that you can tell us, and what you think about it? The change that is going to bring to you?
Kwanza, kabla Huduma namba, sijui kama umesikiaka kafununu kuna Bazu amezaliwa huku hivi Bethlehem.
By Bazu you mean
Big man.
A big man, prominent person, right?
Mse mkubwa, some king, you know.
Yeah.
Huyu mtoto inasemekana yeye ndio atakuwa mkubwa huku hivi. Yeye ndio atakuwa big man, yeye ndio ataokoa hii nation kutoka kwa warazi, watiaji na watu kama hao.
I think it's fair to say that one does never cease, that you have so much hope on a child that was born. When was the child born?
Sasa si tulikuwa tuko Marima, tunachunga mbuzi kabisa, tunalisha kidogo. Tumetokewa na msee bana, anawaka ka stima, unajua tukafikiria street light zimekuja choche, at least bana mbuzi zitaona nini zinakula, zisikula kule mapampas, unajua.
Wait, and this is yesterday night?
Hii ni jana usiku.
Okay.
Hii ni jana usiku after tumechukua huduma namba. Sasa huyu mtoto mimi naona nikata tuokorea hii maisha yetu. Tutaokorewa sana, unajua.
Okay. You're putting your hope on a child that is barely 24 hours old actually. And you're saying that this is a child that's going to save the world. Do you make any sense out of what you're saying?
Wewe umeona watoto wangapi wamezaliwa alafu malaika anatokea tu out of nowhere, anakuja anawaambia sasa huyu ni mfalme, endeni mkaone, ako ndani ya zizi, amewekwa huko hivyo, amelalishwa na nguo za mtoto. Ni wangapi umeona?
Okay, I've never seen any, but it's hard to believe it. You know what I'm talking about?
Ndio sababu nakuambia huyu mtoto ni special. Huyu mtoto ni bazuu. Huyu mtoto atakomboa hii dunia na warazi. Huyu ni mtoto special.
Like, what solutions are you looking at? The kind of solutions that is likely to bring in?
Kwanza, hata si solution, wacha tuangalie problem ndio tujue solution itakuwa wapi, si ndio?
Yep.
Pesa ya wabunge imetolewa, si ndio?
Sure.
Allowances zote wako nazo. Pesa za wasanii ziko za COVID-19. Mbona pesa za wachungaji hazitolewi?
Like shepherds, that's you guys, your profession.
Sindio, hata sisi tunafaa kupewa kiasi, at least wakitupatia ganji tunyamazie, tucheze chini.
Quite a good question to the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock there. And I think one final comment that you could say before I wind it up.
Mimi najua kitu moja.
Yes.
Huyu mtoto ni mfalme. Na huyu mtoto juu ni mfalme, inabidi tuangalie historia yake vile itakuwa, serikali iingilie kati, huyu mtoto alelewe vizuri kabisa kule State House na vitu kama hizo, unajua
There you have it on the street, as they say, every village has its own madman, and probably this village we've already found the madman in here, and it looks he's back. Yes.
Check history ukipeleka huko hivyo studio, cheza chini. Kuna manjege wameachiliwa, by the way.
Njege, what do you mean by njege for the viewers?
Policemen.
Okay, policemen.
Wameachiliwa, wanachukua watoto kutoka 3 months kwenda chini. Sijui wanawapeleka wapi. Lakini ni kwa sababu ya huyu mtoto hii story imetokea. Sasa ukitangaza hii story, play down, cheza chini.
And there you have it. Allegations that there are abductions of children happening just because of a child that has been born, covering a story of Huduma number, and out of nowhere there is a king that is being born of a child. We leave it at that because until we get the verified information, we cannot speak or comment about it. It is the viewer's opinion. It's actually the interviewee's opinion, and it's not an opinion that we hold to it. We thank you from Deck the Halls. From me, Jeroboam, back to you in studio.
Born a king on Bethlehem.
Wow, okay, that was definitely not the news that we were expecting to get tonight, but as always, we are committed to bringing you the news as it is, unfiltered. During the break, we were able to get Rabbi and Professor of History and Religion from School of
Gamaliel.
Gamaliel School of Divinity. We have the one and only Professor Potiphar joining us here this evening just to brief us on all of these absurd things we're hearing. We have the woman talking about a star. We have the shepherd talking about a king being born. If you could just brief us on what is, we were here to cover the census that is taking place, but we have a different story coming amidst all of this. So could you just give us an idea of what is this that we're experiencing?
I don't know if you have the time for this.
We have all the time. We have all the time.
Well, this is an interesting season. In fact, first of all, I want to say you are lucky. I am lucky. We are all lucky to be born in a season like this and be alive to see what is happening. You see, in my study of theology and the genesis of how life has been, it's right from the book of Genesis, the story of creation. The story of this child was talked about. Would you believe that? I don't know if they teach you that in the School of Journalism, but, you know, I'll help you out with this information. And so, in my study, I've discovered that one of the things that was mentioned during the creation story, which are the key narrative, because we want to know where we came from.
Yeah.
And so here we are, looking at Genesis, the man is created, and then in quick succession, there is what we call the fall of man, when Adam and Eve ate of this tree. And that basically starts off the narrative of the redemption story. And so we have the creation story, the redemption story. We see God working to restore man to himself. But all this while, none of these things have been able to work. And so we have the sacrificial processes where we bring our sacrifices, but it has never satisfied what God requires of us. And there was a promise. In Genesis, the Bible talks about the seed of woman who will crush the head of the serpent. And that points to this child who was being born.
So what you're trying to tell us here is the child that we are witnessing the birth of today has been promised from beginning of time?
Has been promised from beginning. Let me take you through the process. In Exodus, he is called the rock. And if you know the story of Exodus, when they were going through the wilderness, there was this rock that accompanied them, that gave them water, and that was considered a type of Christ, the living water, the bread of life. And then in the book of Isaiah, you know the prophet Isaiah?
Yes.
You've heard of the prophet.
I've
I know
heard,
they teach you a bit of this in the School of Journalism. And so Isaiah speaks about this child that will be born. And it talks about, unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. He shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace, and of the increase of his kingdom there will be no end. Now, I want to tell you that this whole story points to this child. Now, bringing you back to Genesis, says the seed of woman. Now, this child who has been born is said to have been born to a virgin, born of virgin birth. Nothing that we have seen in our lifetimes.
But with the science we have today, that is not considered possible. That is questionable.
And that is why it is a divine involvement. And that is why this child is spectacular. Right from the announcement, look, stars. A star brings these three wise men all the way from a foreign land to come and celebrate this child. What makes them leave their nation, leave their beliefs, and say a king has been born in a nation far from theirs?
And just to touch on what you said, you mentioned about the star. And you said you've studied theology. The woman that we had before, who was with Jerusalem, mentioned that she studied the stars.
Yes.
But is this something natural? Is it supernatural? Is it something, I mean, we have millions of stars in the sky, so what makes this one so special that it would bring people from across nations, across borders, to this particular city?
Yes, and it makes perfect sense. You see, the study of stars is called astrology. They, people of old, have used stars to guide them in their ways, use them for direction, use them to note specific, special occasions. And so this star that we have seen is a spectacular star. In fact, the sightings of this star have brought awe and wonder to everyone who spotted it. And this man followed it all the way, followed this star all the way, not to a palace, but to a manger, to a little town, Bethlehem. Little scrawny town, compared to where some of us have traveled in our work and business. It wouldn't be the place to consider the birth of a king. But here we are. And the star led them specifically to this house. Works more efficiently than Google Maps, works more efficiently than GPS. Nailed it. And then this child is there, born to this family.
But just like you've said, to Bethlehem, and us as the common citizens of this city, we question why Bethlehem. There's much greater cities out here. We heard the lady say before, our town is filled with donkeys, no roads, but why Bethlehem?
Because it was written. Now, I want you to understand that in my study, I've always tried to follow the specificity of prophecy, and we can see the footprint of prophecy in all this. When Isaiah speaks of this child, he's not even aware of when this child will be born, but he knows that God has said this son will be given who will restore us to a relationship with God. And then one of the other prophets speaks and says, from the land of Bethlehem, a light shall be born. And exactly the particular town, the particular season. Look at the turn of the centuries, because up till now it was BC. Now we are moving to a new season, that the countdown of the clock has come right down to zero. And here, this child at this point of inflection is born. What an amazing, amazing setup this is. Now, notice that there has been 400 years of silence. From the time the prophet Malachi wrote, there has been silence. There's been no prophetic words. There's been nothing said. There was silence. It's almost like heaven was silent to us. But now with this great announcement, and that's why it was taken with such great joy, because everyone has been anticipating and saying, has God forgotten us? And I know you know that feeling. We feel like God has forgotten us. But here we are now, looking and saying, surely God has fulfilled what was written. Not just fulfilled it, has spoken it to be, and has fulfilled it in exactly the same way that he said it will be. It will be a child born of a virgin. It will be a child born of a woman. It will be a child born in Bethlehem. It will be a child born in a season when the people in darkness see a great light. Now, I want to ask you a question. If I say that cup is going to fall down and it falls down, if I say that tree is going to be cut down tomorrow and it gets cut down tomorrow, if I say it's going to rain at exactly 10 p.m. and it rains, by the time I get to the fifth thing that I'm telling you and coming to pass, wouldn't you believe that there is something unique about me?
Of course we would believe, but I'd still question. I would still question all of this. But then again, as you've just mentioned and you've answered me for the second time now, that it's all a promise that's being fulfilled.
And so the evidence lends itself.
Yes.
That here we are. Yes, you would question, you would want to question, but the reality is you cannot fight fact. You cannot fight what is written when it's fulfilled. If I said it's going to rain and it wouldn't rain, then you have all the right to question.
It would take someone to be theologically smart to question everything.
Well, we as human beings love logic, I think, more than theology. And so logic always wins, and that is why science seems to play into our lives so easily, because if I turn on this tap and water comes out, I know that this tap produces water. And every time I go to that tap, I know it will produce water. Why? Because it has proven over and over. And so here we are now, and I know men would argue in different ways and say different things, but the truth is, if he said it and he has fulfilled it, then chances are that this is the truth. And how many children have been born? In fact, one of the critics of our age had spoken and said, oh, this is not the first time that a woman has given birth of virgin nature. And I wanted to tell them, listen, when Moses cast his stick down, did it turn into a snake?
Yes, it did.
But didn't the wise men of the time in Egypt also cast down their sticks?
They did.
What happened? They also turned into snakes. But what happened at the end of it all? Moses' stick or snake swallowed all the other snakes. Now, I want you to understand that the stick for them was a symbol of authority, and his authority was greater than theirs. And so you have to understand that it's not in contention to the fact that there are other things and miraculous things happening, but this child seems to have something that we can only wait to observe and marvel. I can't put down my books because I'm seeing what is on paper coming to life right in front of my eyes. And I'm seated here and I'm just like, oh, I want to see it all.
And just one last question before we take our break. You spoke about authority. And in our city, in our country, we already have authority. We already have a king. But then again, we have people, the shepherd, the wise woman. You have you talking about another king being born. Don't you fear the political friction that this will bring? And why now? Why now? Why this particular year? Why today?
The Bible always talks about when the time had fully come. When the time and season for something to happen comes, everything conspires towards it. And so I am in no doubt that this is the right time for this child to be born. Is it an easy time? No. Could there have been a better time in our framework of thinking? Perhaps. But the truth is, there is no better time than now. We always tell people, if you have to do something well, do it right, but do it now. Don't wait until tomorrow. And I believe the time and season has conspired to bring this child to be born at this time. And this child is not coming to rule as an ordinary man or an ordinary king. He is coming to restore what we cannot restore, our relationship with God, our relationship with the Father who created us. And if we understand that, then we know that his kingdom is not this kingdom. And so there are kings, but he is the King of Kings. There are lords, but he is the Lord of Lords. Oh, I could preach about these all day long.
There we have it, guys. Professor Potiphar with us, just telling us that indeed it is a promise being fulfilled in this time and age. Stay tuned. Right after the break, we'll have more questions, and feel free to join in the conversation through our tweets, through our calls. Feel free to join in the conversation and give your thoughts as well. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations arise, join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Welcome back to Deck the Halls Weekend Special. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We still have our Professor Potiphar here with us. And before we took the break, we asked you to join the conversation. And we've had a couple of you tweet. I'm just going to read some of the tweets out here. We have Mike Wamotura saying, I saw the star that the rich madam was talking about. So that's someone second to back up to what you're saying.
Yeah.
We have Shanice Nazareth saying, so glad to have gotten my Huduma number. Finally, somebody on track of what this whole edition was meant to be about. We have Githeri Man on board saying, Nilicheki. Oof, Swahili.
Oh, Swahili.
Lord help us. Nilicheki.
Let me read it for you.
Please, just take over, Professor.
Oh, it says Nilicheki how three wise men,
Yes.
by the way.
All right.
That is Githeri Man. Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Very, very interesting. Apologies for our Swahili on set, but we're making improvements on that. But before we oh, I see we have a caller coming in. We have a caller coming in as well to join the conversation. Caller one, if you could please, if you get me.
Hello, can you get me? Hello?
Hello, if you could kindly please do speak a bit louder.
Thank you so much. This is the
right.
Inspector General of Police, and
Okay.
it's not like it's a rare thing. We hand record, but when we call it's because of urgency. And we'd like to mention something about professional journalism. You need to be responsible a bit on the kind of things that you are informing the nation about. Yeah. Here you have a professor on studio, but talking about a president, a king, kind of that is coming up. We have a constitution that runs this country, and to just make it clear that there is no other king, you should not be sending panic to the members of the public. The same thing that I had one eyewitness was giving, that there are police who are looking for kids, small kids. We are not in any business of looking after our own children for marriage or for anything. We are a peaceful country, and we would like you to keep preaching peace about this nation. But otherwise, you keep doing the good job of informing Kenyans about what is going on.
All right, that is Inspector General on call, who was just on call with us. Professor,
Yes.
we have gotten a totally different point of view from the inspector. I mean, what would you say about all these varied...
It's very,
you know.
it's very interesting that they have actually called in. And as I said, this child is special. Just consider that all this attention, I mean, you've tried to get information about the Huduma number registration, and it's going nowhere because everyone is wondering who is this child. And now they have called in to ask about him. Interesting enough to hear what they have said about this child that is born. I would say it's because there is something that is being stirred in the spiritual that everyone is responding to. Seems like every time something great is about to happen, cover-up always comes up. Panic
which in this
always
case is
comes.
the census.
And in this case, we have the census going on. But it's interesting that even for this family, as I said in the scriptures, it has been promised that this child will be born in Bethlehem. They don't live in Bethlehem. But to fulfill the scriptures, and I want you to understand this, they had to be sent from their home to come to Bethlehem, where the child is born, to fulfill what is written. If it
So
wasn't
you're
the census...
telling me a virgin birth of which they don't even belong to this city?
They are visitors. That is why they say he was born in, what do they call it again? A manger. That is, yes, the couch, because they couldn't find room in the inn because of all the people in town. And so it's just interesting that the IG calls. It just lends to the fact that there is actually something big happening. Do they always call?
No, not always. So that I think that
answers your question.
All right, we have another caller I can see coming in. Thank you guys for joining into the conversation. Here we have, I think, is it Simeon? Simeon, if I'm not wrong. Simeon, if you are getting me, kindly please introduce yourself and what you have to say.
Hello, can you
Okay,
hear
we're
me?
getting you, Simeon.
Yes, this is Simeon from Jerusalem. I just have been tuned into your show today, and I'm just calling to verify that everything that the professor has said today is true. I can tell you that I have been praying over the years, and the Lord had showed me a vision that there will be a child who will be the Messiah that will be born. And as I have been praying about this, the Lord showed me that I will not die before I get to meet this baby. Now, I'm calling just to celebrate something. I have seen this Messiah. This Messiah came in with his parents into the temple the other day, and I beheld this baby and I held him up, and oh Lord, thank you. He has shown me everything that he promised he would. Professor, you are speaking the truth, and may the Lord, the good Lord, bless you and keep you. Thank you. I just wanted to verify that.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Simeon. Thank you, Simeon. That is extremely interesting because we have, I think this is now the third person from our tweets, now from our calls, to back what you're saying. Professor, I mean, what can you...
It's amazing to just hear what he says, that he was in prayer and the Lord told him he will not die before he sees this child.
And indeed,
he has seen the child.
Wow.
And I would ask the question to every one of us, what child is this? What child is this?
Who is this child? This king, this heavenly king that people claim has been born, who is he? And also, Professor, a question you have been, what is his purpose? To have come, I mean, we touched on the time.
Yes.
But why do we need another king? Why, in fact, why do we need a heavenly king?
This question you're asking takes us back to Genesis, the fall of man. When man fell, God had a plan. It's amazing. God always has a plan. Even when we mess up, he has a plan. Even when we don't want to follow his plan, he has a plan for the plan that we don't want to follow. And so God had a plan. The Bible says, the scriptures say that what is the lamb who was slain before the foundations of the earth, which means that this child was known to be the ultimate sacrifice to redeem us from sin before even Adam and Eve became.
So you want to tell me we have a solution to all our problems?
We have a solution before our problem. That's why I'm telling you, I am excited to be living in this time and season. It's amazing to hear the testimony of this one, Simeon, and what he has said.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. You've heard the professor himself, and we have another call coming in. This will be our last call of the night. Yeah. I think this is Anna who is coming in. Anna, if you can get me, please introduce yourself and what you have to say.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
If you could increase your volume a bit, Anna.
Oh, sorry, ma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anna.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes, thank you very much. In fact, see, this thing we have been saying it. We have been saying it since. It's just that people are not believing us. It's just that people are kind of like seeing that we are lying. But I'm very happy. In fact, I'm very grateful to the Lord, though, because this thing we have seen it with our eyes. Me myself, I've been living in the temple for the last. I'm very happy. I've been praying and fasting, asking the Lord, what are you going to do now that people have received this prophecy? Are you going to embarrass us? But I am very happy that the Lord has just answered our prayer. In fact, Jehovah is the Lord. Amen. Amen. Okay, goodbye. I'm going to worship.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Thank you. We have a very enthusiastic woman that just, again,
praying, waiting, hearing, fulfillment,
and now seeing, experiencing firsthand.
And you know how
vitukwa ground from the Bible.
Now, vitukwa ground, as they say in the colloquial language, are very different because what we expected was census.
Yes.
Now we have a story of a king being born. We have old men and old women saying, we have been waiting for this time. We have scripture fulfilled telling us this child has been born.
Guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to add on to this. Professor has said it all. Thank you for the people who called. Now, Professor, as we wind this up, I just want you to give us your closing comments. What are we to expect? We've already heard good news from the callers, from the tweets, but then we still have the doubters. Obviously, there will always be doubters.
There will always be doubters. That is how it is. What I would want to say to you is this. When you see somebody fulfill what he has said over the years, when you see how the narrative of this child being born has been fulfilled, the question is not if, maybe, or why. The question is for you to ask yourself, what child is this? And in answering that question, consider this. If he is the same child that has been prophesied over and over and over, then just like the 3 wise men came and brought the gifts to him, we ought to also recognize him, even in this time and season, and know that this is the promised child, the Messiah, the Lamb of God. God bless you, and looking forward to seeing the unfolding of this amazing, amazing story.
Amazing, amazing. That's it for us tonight. Thank you, Professor, for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
It has been a pleasure having such great information from first hand coming to us here at Deck the Halls Weekend Special. That's
Thank
it
you.
for us tonight. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll catch you next time with another one.
The first nowhere, the angels did say, once a certain portion fed in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay
beautiful and so moving performance reminding us exactly what this day means to the entire planet. Congratulations, Wajiko and your cast. Thank you so much for having us, all of us, the Loop family. Hasn't this been so much fun?
Yeah.
And I think we have a budding news anchor. Do you want?
Thank you.
So your name is Alicia.
Yes.
Do you actually want to be a news anchor?
No.
What? After all this? I was not expecting
No.
that. You don't?
No.
You're not interested at all?
Not interested at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Even after Bathsheba, not the
No,
clan day.
Bathsheba was for Christmas, but in future not.
So what do you want to be?
I don't know, something in the IT space, I think.
Okay.
Those are where the cool people are.
Okay. Yes, it's true. The nerds are cool.
Yeah.
So next year, what are we looking forward to in 2021? I would ask Wanjiko, but I know that whatever she writes, you'll be involved.
Well, I just have to get in character for it. I'm looking forward to Easter and, decking the cross.
Decking the cross. Okay. We are at Purpose Center, so make sure you look out for their future productions. This has been so much fun. And as we celebrate Christmas, do not forget to have Christ born in your heart as well. And from all of us, a Merry Christmas
and a happy 2021.